What up, y'all? I'm back with another review, and I'm here to review the newest studio album from Ka entitled Descendants of Cain. Now, this is Ka's fifth studio album. He released his first one, Ironworks, on the label Ironworks, which has been the label for all of his albums, back in 2008. Then in 2012, he dropped Grief Pedigree. 2013, he dropped The Nice Gambit, which doesn't get talked about as much now these days. But back when Honor Killed the Samurai, his last album dropped back in 2016. It's really been almost 4 years now. Damn. People were, which I reviewed that project, by the way. Damn. After this review, I'm probably I'm gonna go back and see how much I've changed since then, voice and everything. But yeah, Honor Killed the Samurai. Back then, when that dropped, people were talking more about The Nice Gambit. Not really so much today, but people are still talking about the Honor Killed the Samurai, though, which I thought was a damn good project. That was actually one of my 10 from that year, I want to say. One of my top 10 from that year. But yeah, Ka, he's representing Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York. He's 47. I knew he was an older rapper, but I did not know he was 47. And the fact that he's, I guess he's still fire captain in Brooklyn. He said, like in an interview in 2013, he said, I have a full-time job and I work all the time. I try to keep that kind of low. I just have a job. It ain't my calling or nothing. It's just my job. So I'm guessing he's still there. And he's been rapping since 1993, actually. So what's that? 27 years? So since he was 20. That just goes to show you, no matter what your age is, like, you can peak or get into your prime and, like, just hit the stride. No matter what age you are. Like, he's 47 now, and this is probably, I'm going to go ahead and say it now, this is probably his best work. Definitely his most anticipated release. But let's go ahead and get right into this review. Yeah, Ka, Descendants of Cain, 11 tracks long. I'm not really sure exactly how many minutes, but I just know it's 11 tracks long. First track, Every Now and Then. Some very conscious subjects here. He just talks about doing some things that are out of the ordinary or bad for him every now and then. Like sitting with crooks, playing the fool, stealing, loving things that he should have just lusted, snubbing what should have been trusted and things like that, and being in touch with the untouchable. And he talked about the church preaching stealing, at least the one that he went to, I think. Or he could just be talking about the congregation in general, in the church, not with just stealing, but the deeds that they had what? Oh my goodness. The deeds disease seeds while he produces produce. I don't know why I had a hard time right there. And he just talks about when he's around the pen, the chains around him break. I don't know what's going on. And he talked about school being cool, but how he retains street smarts instead, and how he's kind of been loyal to a fault. Just a very slow, grimy, cold, no drum on or bass beat. Like it's like what I like to call new wave boom bap. I didn't even term that, of course. I just saw something from DJ Booth one time, and they said new wave boom bap, and a lot of the guys were rapping over these beats with no drums and no bass. So I was like, okay. So that's new wave boom bap. No one else even really calls it that, but yeah, new wave boom bap type of shit. Track number 2, Unto the Dust. He just talks about where he comes from. Ain't nobody just passing away. Like you either go to prison or you die in the street. And towards the end, he's talking about like at the end of the day. So what are you gonna do? Like what are you gonna get and leave behind? What are you gonna pass down and give for when you go? Because like he said, like ain't nobody passing away. And he talks about how where he comes from, they'll take any task you have if you have the cash to pay. And I wasn't feeling it that much, honestly, but by the third or fourth listen, it started to grow on me. And the beat is actually very smooth and catchy. I didn't catch that on my first couple listens. Track number 3, Patron Saints. Yeah, Patron Saints. Very cool beat. Um, Jesus. He just talks about the people in his neighborhood. His patron saints were doing things that weren't necessarily the, I guess, most admirable. But they did what they had to do to take care of their community, though. Like the Santas in his hood were carrying hammers, the caregivers were stealing, the peacekeeper were busting guns, the heroes were selling heroin and shit. Like, just having very deceitful, I guess, pillars of the community or in the community. And he said that, what is it? He had to go get it even if hearts were broken. Like, maybe not even necessarily him, but just the people that were around him. There were mad quotables here. Like, what did he say? Raised to age a few years in a day. Talked about, like, if not elite, didn't eat if you didn't pray. Don't marinate on beef you don't plan on finishing, because every effort's for record. We ain't here scrimmaging. Damn it, man. COD just... Track number 4, My Brother's Keeper. He said, if you a king, esteem a queen, don't provide her. Make sure she a queen, don't confide in a Delilah. You know she want the main cut. Fast as you can. Curve her, keep the change up. That freaking baseball reference, I was like, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. I love the soul sample that plays throughout the beat. And the instruments remind me of the original soundtrack of this Breakout game application I had on my computer back in like the mid 2000s. Like, I was like, why does this sound so oddly familiar? Then I had to think back, like, where have I heard something like this before? And I was like, oh yeah, that game that was on my computer. And I was like, what is that game called? And then my cousin was like, I can't believe you don't remember the name of it. I was like, what is it? Breakout. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I never even knew the name now that I think about it. But anyway, track number 5, Solitude of Enoch. Really go. I don't even know why I'm laughing, but he's really being consistent, being cohesive, and following through with the title of the album. Brothers killing brothers, Descendants of Cain. Man, the things he says here, you gotta be in grace first to fall from it. Funny, used to call my friends money, I lost hundreds. He talked about becoming a man of his house, protecting his mother, his cousin saying he's gonna beat him like his dad. And when he heard that, Kyle was ready to kill him, but then his sister calmed him down. And they were cool, him and his sister, but now they're on the rocks. And the beat transition by the second verse was pretty freaking good. The first beat felt like listening to blues in a jazz in a dive bar, but Kyle just talked about how he got different advice from Turn the Other Cheek. And I really felt the perspective of Enoch on the second verse. Track number 6, The Eye of a Needle. The beat transition on the third verse was just really nice too here with this track. Well, third verse, not second verse. But it was just a really nice beat transition. That happens throughout this album. And I really like that because, in a sense, it kind of reminds me of Earl with I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside. Not because it sounds the same, but just having multiple tracks with beat transitions. I really enjoy that. And the main thing I took away from this album, other than the third verse and the transition by that time, was that when he said, some equality, none in poverty, I'll be joyous then. Just a really, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a really respectable track. And with him wanting something like that, some equality, like at least some equality, none in poverty, I'll be joyous then. Track number 7, Pray. Please receive any yield. For a smart fight, God might have to stop working in mysterious ways. Now, I'm wondering if he's talking about God, like theory of God, or if he's talking about himself, like if he's a 5%er. Oh, I feel like just being as old as he is, being from New York, especially Brownsville, I just feel like he's at least studied 5% slash NOI ideologies. So maybe he's talking about himself. But it's the least amount of life with this track. It kind of reminds me of if Protectors of the Heat by Open Mike Eagle off of Hello Personal Film Festival with Paul White back in 2016. One of my favorite albums of all time, without question. It reminds me of if that track wasn't as lively. Like, yeah, if that track wasn't as lively, if it wasn't as, I can't really say upbeat, but if it wasn't like so if it wasn't so tribal in a sense, if it wasn't so, I can't say upbeat, but just flowing, lively like that. What did he say right here? This was fantastic. When he said, if urged from my old Proverbs, check my Old Testaments, I was like, yo, Kai, my nigga. Oh, shit. Track number 8, Land of Nod. One of the more lively beats on the album, which isn't really saying much because it's still slow. That's just the kind of MC that Kai is. He's not on, at least from what I've heard, ever since I know this Kill the Samurai and the Orpheus Project. This is one of the more lively beats, but still slow. He talked about how he wouldn't dare hate anybody who makes it out of this land where there's poverty, there's little food, you're living with prisoners, so you can't be scared straight. Anybody who makes it out of this land, he's saying, like, I wouldn't dare hate anybody who gets the fuck out of here. Track number 9, Sins of the Father, featuring Rock Marciano, which is the only feature, at least the only feature that I picked up. If there was another feature and I missed it, then damn. But yeah, Kai and Rock Marcy on the same track. Two of the best rappers of the last decade on the same track. Let's go. And this is weird because it's almost like a tribal ritual like beat, but in how eerie it is. Like there's no real life to it, but it's still a nice track. It's like a slow, creeping, sort of haunting beat. I believe Ka here said like long lags of stagnation made the mind race. Being lost like this will have you in a confined space. And he talked about being forced to fast, which is kind of, I think it's funny that he says that, because I've always looked at the people in the Bible and these visions that some of them seem to have and the claims that they have. It's like these people were pretty much forced to fast. They weren't just voluntarily fasting like that. So for him to say like being forced to fast, it's like really just keeping up this biblical theme here. Whether or not that's a reference to the Bible or not, that's how he sees it. I just caught my ear like, huh, all right. And he talked about building his ark in the face of ridicule, having to sacrifice for his life to altar, and how he saw too much to just have blind faith. And the system leaning on him and his people but never showing any lenience. And I think it was Rock that said now we're giving the devil a grace period. And how whatever the Father did, we ain't deserve this. That part, whatever the Father did, we ain't deserve this. I think that was both of them on the chorus. Track number 10, Old Justice. This is one of those beats where it's like, it's just the nighttime, you're walking the streets downtown type of shit. It seems like he's justifying, or more so explaining, why him and the people in his community did what they did. It's like you're getting all these leftovers, like government cheese and government milk and all this shit. It's like you're getting all these leftovers, so it's kind of like you're just looking at it like, yo, now go make something happen for yourself, because it's like this is fucking embarrassing. And we're better than this. And it's like, if the Lord offered, would you learn how or take the fish? And with the chorus, it's like, yo, get crossed, and it's like body for an eye, body for a tooth. It's like no matter what you do, it's gonna be met with a body. Like I don't care if you take a tooth, an eye, whatever you take. Like we're taking the body. It's like god damn. Shit. And the last track, Our Love, featuring Mimi, Moms, and Kev. Probably the most beautiful beat on this album, and probably the most beautiful track in terms of the subject matter as well. it's an ode to his mother, his wife, and his best friend. So that's really nice to hear. And each contribute to completing him. Like with his wife, she complimented him, saw something in him, um, and he was just saying like, who knew like to complete myself or to finish myself, I'd have to find you. Then with the support in making him better, like that's the role she played in completing him. Then with his mom just being mom, showing him love when all he ever saw was hate. And then Kevin, his best friend, just being like his shoulder to cry on and being his brother. Uh, it's one of the it's a different track from the rest of the album. Definitely, it's a different track from the rest of the tracks on the album. Definitely, but it still fits though, because with all this going on, you have getting away from the biblical theme, yes, but with the biblical theme, you got, of course, story of Cain and Abel, talking about Enoch, talking about other characters in the Bible, talking about the setting and the themes that were relatable or like what he grew up in, how they're similar to what you read about in the Bible. For him to, on the last track of the album, for him to end it on a sweet note, like on an upbeat note, like even through all that, things are okay or they're all right, or getting better in a sense, maybe. For him to end the album saying like, even through all that, these were the people that were helping me the most through this. Whether they were there with me or I met them later on in life when I was trying to do something else, like when I had to get out the hood, or tried to get out of the hood, I guess that would be his wife. It's like for him to end the track, like, and this is an ode to the people who complete me and have helped me the most get out of the situation that I was in or support me through that. I think that's really dope to see. This album is just really, really freaking good. I'm going to give it a 7.75 to an 8 out of 10. Actually, I have some summary notes right here. Make sure that they fit, though. And you notice I didn't quote with so many tracks or so many quotes on here. It's because there are quotables everywhere. And Kai's another one of those artists where it's like to quote them all, or even half of them, is to quote half the album itself. So I just wasn't gonna do that. You just listen to the album, damn it. I'm feeling every track, even though I'm 10 out of 11 on the tracks though because of Pray. It's like that would be the one track I wouldn't download. I wouldn't skip it when listening to the album fully. Like I'd listen to the album fully. I wouldn't skip it. But if I was gonna download a track off here, this would be the last one I would. If I was given the option to download every track on here, I would. It's just that one track that sticks out. Like but it's still cool though. But that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think about this album in the comment section below, and what you think about my review on it. And if you haven't heard this project, I definitely recommend that you check it out. And that's pretty much it. Be sure to hit the like button if you like this review. Share the review. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and like the content that you see. Check the description for some of my links down there if you want to connect with me further. And that's pretty much it. Thank y'all for watching. Stay safe out there, and I will see y'all next time.